Hey, welcome back with us. Fantasy Endgame, and it's draft time. That's right. We're going to get a draft on because it's draft season. A lot of you already have done this because last weekend was a busy draft weekend, but this is it. This is the heaviest draft time of the season this coming weekend. You want to sharpen the sword, you want to get ready, you want to make sure you draft the right people. So let's go ahead and show you who our community is going to draft. In fact, you want to practice and draft with us. Here we go. We got a mock 12 team on sleeper, half PPR tonight. You want to get in? You better be quick. There's the link. Let's see how quickly it fills. We do have some news today. Good news.
Yes.
And I wonder if this actually makes an impact. It might. CeeDee Lamb, the drama is over. Thankfully. I mean, we kind of figured it would be. I mean, did you really think CeeDee Lamb was going to go into the season just not playing?
No, definitely not. But it's nice to see that they got the deal done. He's going to be on the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be out there week 1. You don't have to worry about it in your fantasy drafts anymore. You can draft CeeDee Lamb with confidence.
There you go. Full confidence and no worry. You don't get to shake your fist and blame Jerry Jones for, well, at least for that. You can blame him for a lot of other things, but not that. So I think this does sort of beg the question: is CeeDee Lamb the 1.1? Is he the 1.2? I mean, does it change?
You know, I still have CMC number 1. I've come around again, like I did last year, on Tyreek Hill, slightly above CeeDee Lamb. But I'm also fine with CeeDee Lamb. Like, I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried, like, maybe he'll start a little slow because he's only going to practice, this week and then whatever they practice next week for the game. But, yeah, he'll be fine. It's CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. That's your top 3 in some order.
Right. Yeah. It shouldn't make a big difference because they should all pretty much be just studs and carry your team. So, anyways, so we're full. Are we good to go?
We're full. We're good to go. We're doing a 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, half PPR draft tonight. Diesel power on the clock.
All right. Looks like random order here. You got the 6, I got the 8. We are stuck in the middle with each other. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, stuck in the middle. In our first end game league draft that will be streaming tomorrow night, we have the 5. So I don't think, although I'm getting Amon-Ra St. Brown here at the 6, which I'm very happy with, I don't think I'm going to get Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 5 tomorrow. We'll see.
Probably not, but you really never know. All bets are off once the draft starts. Looks like, as expected, our community going those 5 receivers, and then you go Brees, I go Bijan.
I didn't go Brees. I went.
Oh no, sorry, I forgot. I thought you were right next to me. The toilet bowl something is the one who took Brees. Yeah. All right. Yeah, some people look. JSC Jimmy got CeeDee Lamb over both those guys. That's his 1.1. I don't have any issue with that. For a while throughout this offseason, we just said that's it. Lamb is the 1.1. If you want CMC, I mean that's fine too.
Yep. Fine with those 3 guys in any order.
There you go. I will say, I think it's kind of nice. At least you get CMC at that 1. You know, you can just go here RB, and that's you don't have to. But it's like, okay, I'm not going to worry about running back for a while, and so it just kind of makes things a little easier. Not that easier always wins, but it's just kind of nice to know you're set at RB1.
Definitely is a nice feeling.
Man, speaking of RBs, we just had a run. 4 straight running backs off the board. Yeah, I'm not gonna go anybody like Achan this early. I know it's half PPR, but still, I'm getting Puka this late. I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's great value. Great value on Puka, and I will be using our trusty draft pilot to tell me exactly who to pick here.
That's right.
London, Waddle, I think. Oh, man. That's tough. London, Waddle, London. Too soon for Evans, I think. Too soon for Achan. Too soon for Ayuk. Let's go. I've gotten I think a lot of Waddle in these. Let's go London.
There you go. Got options. Let's get to Dan. Dan Fuller was first, definitely first in.
What's up, Dan?
Drafted yesterday. All right, there you go. It was a busy weekend. Half PPR also. So he got Josh Allen, Rashad White, Javante, Rico, Chase Brown, and Mostert. Receivers are JJ, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., and Neighbors. And he said it is a 10-teamer.
All right, so I'm guessing you went 0 RB, but I still like your running backs. I mean, Rashad White, Javante Williams, Rico Dowdle, Chase Brown, and Mostert. You should be fine there. You got Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, and Drake London. I mean, even in a 10-teamer, it's pretty good. And you got Rashee Rice and Brian Thomas Jr., not to mention Josh Allen. So that's a very strong team. I'm going to give it a 8.75.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a 0 RB team. This is 10 teams, but still, if Rashad White is your RB1, that's fine. It is half PPR. So, I mean, I actually think out of those running backs, Mostert's probably starting in this format. But yeah, you've got great receivers. They should carry you. So I think I'll give this about an 8 because you got an elite quarterback. He didn't say who's his tight end is, huh?
Yeah, didn't say tight end. No tight end here.
Okay. Although I wonder, look here, he's saying quarterback, 3 receivers, 1 flex, kicker and defense. Thank you for not mentioning their names. Maybe they don't need a tight end. You didn't even say that.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
That would be great.
I should have made the end game league tight endless.
Yeah, that's honestly true. That's okay. People are just used to drafting tight ends.
I know.
Great question. Look, Jimmy, we were just talking about this. We were talking, it still feels too soon for Start Sit, but it's not. But it will be coming out very soon. In fact, we have a release date. Do we want to officially reveal the release?
Yeah, I mean, we do it the same every year. Okay, so now it's saying DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith. Oh, man, those are tough choices, too. Jeez. Some very good wide receivers still on the board.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I have DJ Moore slightly over those guys, so let's go with it. Very close on all those guys. Running back start sit will drop Saturday. Wide receiver start sit will drop Sunday. QB tight end Monday.
So there you go. This weekend, once soon as you get your drafts done, well, of course, a lot of you already have your drafts done. You can start looking at the start sit. We're, of course, never too early for trades. So put this one up while I check the app to see. Shane Silva saying 12-man PPR traded Olave and Kincaid for Garrett Wilson and Andrews.
I think you won that. I mean, I like Olave, but I would take Garrett Wilson over Olave, and Kincaid, I might slightly prefer Kincaid, but look, Andrews was great last year before that injury. I think he'll be great again. So I think the Garrett Wilson Andrews side wins this.
Yeah. All right. So it's still early. I can go best available here. It's got Devontae Smith near the top. You know, I'm big on him. Do I just take him again, or Pittman, or DK? If it's the mock, I'll just go Devontae Smith again.
Why does it show? That was weird. It didn't have a timer for you. All right, but it's working. 60 seconds. Okay.
Olave, Kincaid, Wilson, Andrews. I mean, I don't know. This is pretty even. I think I might. I mean, I prefer honestly Kincaid to Andrews, but I prefer Wilson to Olave, so it kind of evens out. I don't know. I guess I'd give the edge to the Wilson Andrews side, but it's close. All right. Let's see. Michael Cazares pulled off a 10-man trade team. Sorry, 10-man draft. A-Rich, JT, Mixon, Tyreek Cup, Bowers, and Devontae Adams. What do you think of that starting squad in a 10-man PPR?
It's good. I mean, you got a stud QB, you got a stud running back, you got a stud wide receiver, so that's very important in 10-team that you have a stud at each position. Mixon, fine as an RB2. Cup and Adams, I think, are just okay. We'll see. Bowers at tight end. I'm not out on Bowers, but I do wonder if Bowers might start a little slow. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5.
Yeah, for this team, I mean, in a 10-man league, I'd like to have an RB2 a little bit better than Mixon. And I know we're like, okay, RB2 can be your weak spot. I'm just nervous about Cup. Bowers, in a 10-man league, I don't think he needs to be your starting tight end. Like, I'd rather see him as your backup, right? Because there's probably 10 tight ends who could deliver more consistent value. So it's a little risky, not going to lie here. A little long in the tooth with some of these players who were maybe past prime age of 27. So you got some strong players, but yeah, you need some youth there on the bench. All right, I'm up. First QB just got taken here. Chris Laborde, see your super chat, and we got another one, so we'll get to you next. So right now, let's see. Best options are, you know what? It is half. I will take the RB. I'll go Kenneth Walker here. All right, Chris Laborde. What's up? Welcome back. Had the number 3 pick in a 12-team PPR league. Took Bijan over Hill. You okay with that?
I mean, no, I'm going Hill still, but it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's not like I think Bijan is going to be bad or anything. Bijan will be great, and so if it's me, I'm going Hill, but it's certainly not crazy.
Yeah, it's not extreme. It's not a big reach or anything like that. Same thing. I got Hill over Bijan, but I had Bijan as my RB2 overall. I'm not going to say that that's a bad pick, because if Bijan is him this year, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And he could be. So,
all right. Grab Rashad White. It's not bad. Rusty Shackleford.
What's up?
Fellas drafted at 6 for 10-team, half PPR, 2 running back, 2 receiver, a flex. Here's the team. Amon-Ra, Pacheco, Kyron, Laporta, Waddle, Devontae, Kyler, Rice, Terry, Javonte, Ford, Rome, Keon, Chubb, and Hawk.
I mean, look, hopefully you can put Chubb on IR and just go pick somebody else up, because he's starting the season on PUP, and who knows when he's coming off. But this is kind of what I feel like a 10-team league should, like a 10-team team should look like. You got Amon-Ra, you got Pacheco and Kyron Williams at running back. That's great. You got Amon-Ra, Waddle, Devonta Smith, Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. That's great. You got a stud QB in Kyler. You got a stud tight end in Laporta. And you got Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford, Romo Dunze, Keon Coleman, and then two guys with no knees on your bench. So I'm going to ignore the 2 guys that don't have a knee, because the rest of the team is so good. This is like a 9.5.
Yeah, it's funny because I was reading the names. I was like, oh, man, this is amazing. And I'm like, oh, Keon Coleman, Chubb, and Hawk at the very end. But look, these are your last picks. I get you can stash them if you want. Hawkinson may be worth stashing if you can put him on IR, assuming he's out that long. Chubb probably not worth stashing, but fine. It's a 10-team league. But yeah, everybody else. I mean, your starting lineup should just wreck basically.
Yes.
Beginning of the year. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a 9-5. I agree. 9-5.
Yeah, very well done.
What's up, Anthony? Which, by the way, we're doing the mocks. You mentioned it earlier. Trying to get in as many drafts possible. The real drafts with you guys, endgame drafts for those who joined, are going to be streaming. Let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah, we got one tomorrow, a regular 12-team PPR draft. Then Wednesday, the one Anthony is in, I'm very excited for. It's a best ball draft, but it's a best ball redraft. So we're drafting a team, I think, of 18 players. It's best ball scoring, meaning you don't have to set your lineup. The computer will automatically set your best lineup for you. But we still have waivers and we still have trades. So you have everything that you get in a regular redraft league. Just don't have to set your lineup. I'm very, very excited for that one. And then you have two on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm knocking them out back to back. Saturday, I should definitely have the time. So there you go. Draft weekend begins. I'm going to go Lamar. Okay.
I mean, Lamar this late, I'll take him. The app says Lamar. I see Lamar in the 5th round. I'm taking Lamar.
Gotcha. All right. Let's do a couple of questions here. What else we got? Alyssa, Dolphin Cloud. Pick one, Javonte, Chase Brown, or Mostert.
As much as I like Javonte, I think it's still got to be Mostert. He's in that Miami offense. He's got incredible touchdown upside. I mean, look, this guy could get hurt first snap of the first game, but I think you got to gamble on him in that offense. So I'm still going to put Mostert over Javonte.
I am too. I worry a little bit that the Denver backfield is going to be sort of a mix and match. I don't know if it's going to be what you'd call full-blown committee. I just don't know how committed Sean Payton is to Javonte. And then Chase Brown, 50-50. I like Chase Brown, but I can't say he has more upside than Raheem Mostert. He's definitely not going to score as many touchdowns, assuming Mostert stays in one piece. All right, here's a question about somebody who almost surely won't be drafted. Okay, so we have now heard a lot of hype. One of the running backs that's getting hype is Carson Steele, the new supposedly RB2 for Kansas City. If you have Pacheco and you want to handcuff him, are you going with Steele?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's the guy. I mean, look, we have to be a little careful here. You actually talked about this in a video we just recorded that will come out, I think, Thursday. It's not a good history for running backs who dominated the preseason. Because if they're dominating the preseason, it means they're playing with backups. And they're probably playing against third stringers, right? But he's really impressed. It would not surprise me if the Chiefs keep him on the roster. And is there something going on with Clyde Edwards-Helaire mentally right now? Isn't he having like some mental issues or something?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know if Steele's the guy I'm picking up necessarily, but you can definitely drop Clyde.
Right. And that's right. It's apparently PTSD is what they're saying for CEH. I don't know all the details. Doesn't really matter, but there's stuff going on. I wasn't drafting CEH anyways. I will take a last round pick of Carson Steele in underdog drafts in best ball. Because if he scores a couple of touchdowns one week, if something happens, but that's it. In redraft, you don't need to really worry about this, I don't think.
No. Drop Clyde, but you don't have to pick up Steele. There's got to be somebody else on the waiver wire that actually has a path that you can pick up right now.
I would definitely think so.
Steele will still be there for you down the road if you still want him.
Exactly. Okay, best receivers available: Jaden Reed, Keenan Allen. Yeah, I'll go. Let's go to the read. Crystal board with another question. Okay, so here's this team. Kyler, got Bijan, Zamir White, Marvin Harrison, Drake London, Dalton Kincaid, Jalen Waddle. Rate that team.
I'm gonna assume 12 team. I'm gonna hope 12 team. I mean, Bijan White is great. Hold on, I'm on the clock here. The app says go. Oh no. See, we need to change this. Well, it shows Keenan and Odunze, but I am really backing off Keenan. We probably need to drop him down in the rankings a little bit. Give me Odunze. He looks like the number 2 in Chicago, not Keenan. So mental note.
Yeah, I think this is a follow-up to the same one. So I'm assuming it's this 12-team PPR.
Okay. So I'm okay with Bijan. And then you waited for your RB2 Zamir White, which I think is great. Harrison and Drake London should be fine at wide receiver. You got a great tight end. I'm just curious how Jalen Waddle is your flex. Like, what happened here? Like, okay, you went Bijan in round 1. I assume you went Harrison in round 2. I assume London in round 3. Maybe Kincaid in round 4. Maybe Murray in round 5. Like Jalen Waddle. Oh, I was reading that as Jalen Warren. I'm sorry. I'm like, you got Jalen Waddle as your flex, actually. That's really good. You know what's funny about this? Okay, this is a 12-teamer, right?
Yeah.
Somebody commented, because I don't know if anybody caught it. Like, if you don't draft on ESPN, you probably didn't watch it. But I dropped a video today about how I would draft exactly on ESPN if I was early, middle, or late. And somebody's like, you could never get Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jalen Waddle on the same team unless it's a 5-man league. Well, he would have gotten Tyreek Hill if he didn't take Bijan. He got that exact same team, so that's kind of funny. My bad. I thought that was Jalen Warren. I said, how did you end up with Jalen Warren as your flex? This is a great team. This is a fantastic team. You crushed it. You crushed it. Probably another 9-5, honestly. I mean, I don't know your bench, but just looking at your starting lineup is a 9-5.
Yeah. 12-team PPR. And like you said, if this in ESPN, running backs get pushed up, to some extent, some certain receivers get pushed down. It happens. Some people, believe it or not, aren't looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. as a first or second round pick. No. They're like, oh, he's just a rookie. And, he might have gone in the third, fourth. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Yeah, this is a great team. You did exactly something we talk about a lot. You waited on RB2, but you still got a workhorse. You loaded up on receiver. This is a great team. I'm in on Kincaid at tight end, and I'm in on Kyler Murray. So this is probably 9-5 to me too. Well done. All right, let's see. We do have a couple of super chats. Michael Cazares. Thank you again. All right, so this looks like another 10-man league. So this is the full team.
That one. I feel like we did that team. Okay, the full team. All right. Well, hold on. Let me. I know your team, Aaron Jones,
to some extent.
So the app is suggesting Aaron Jones, Raheem Mostert, or Tony Pollard here. Because I only have one running back right now, 4 wide receivers. I mean, Aaron Jones, Raheem Mostert, that's close. It's not a close one. I don't know. Let's just go Aaron Jones, I guess. He probably is the pick here. Let's go Aaron
Jones. Yeah, so here's the bench. What do you think?
All right, well, see, this isn't the team you showed us originally. This is a little different now because now you've got you still have JT Mixon, Anthony Richardson, and Tyreek, but now instead of Kupp and Adams as your 2 wide receivers, you got Drake London, you got Devonta Smith, then you got Kupp. So now I like it a little more because Kupp is like your wide receiver 3. Adams is on your bench. Mostert's on your Stevenson on your bench. Lad Bryant. This is and you got Jaden Daniels to back up Anthony Richardson. So hopefully at least one of those guys is healthy every single week. So this is another very good team. I mean, it's a 10-teamer. don't know if it's quite on the level of the last two we've seen, but it's still very strong. 8.75.
Yeah, it is a 10-teamer. Again, I still am a little nervous with the Mixon and Cup combination, but I mean, you have on your bench Devontae Adams. Yeah, I think you're okay with that. You're very good on the bench, very good. So yeah, you're good. I like this team. And then trying to see here, we have something from Chupapi Dave. Let's see if I can find a question though. I don't know if I see. Do you see a question from that?
Chupapi. Let's see.
I don't see anything. All right. If you have a question or comment, then I guess let us know.
Yeah. Nope, I don't see anything.
Wolfman, don't take it personal. I not intend to snipe. Actually, I was gonna take Pitts, but he didn't last, and so I got to take the value. App says Anthony Richardson's fallen too far. I'll take him. What about Beast Claps?
What's up, Beast Claps?
Full PPR.
Oh, man.
I was like, is that clips or claps? I couldn't see. Full PPR 12-man league. Goff, CMC, Walker, Evans, Pickens, Monty, McBride. On the bench is Javonte, Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Polk, and Mooney.
All right, this must be a league like the one my wife was in, where everybody like went crazy on quarterbacks. But look, Goff, I think Goff is fine.
Yeah,
you got CMC, Kenneth Walker, that's great. Evans, Pickens. Evans Pickens makes me a little nervous. Not that I dislike them, but you could have some weeks where your wide receivers give you very little. You got a stud tight end in Trey McBride. You got Javonte Chase. You got good players on the bench. So I got to think you have more. I mean, Evans and Pickens can't be your only wide receivers, right?
I would hope not. Let's see. Well,
I mean, just looking at this, I would say like 7.5. Running backs are great. Tight end is great. Quarterback is, it's okay. And again, wide receivers just feel like they're going to be very volatile to me. And I'm not sure, how did you end up like, again, am I misreading something? I'm trying to figure out how you got, I'm guessing you took Evans in round 2. I'm guessing you went CMC Evans, but who was your round 3 pick?
Walker, maybe Walker or McBride. McBride goes early these days.
Yeah, again, when I'm taking CMC, I'm going hero RB, meaning like I want really, really stud wide receivers with CMC, and then I can wait. Like even if Monty was your RB2, and let's say instead of Walker you had another really good wide receiver, I feel better about this team.
Yeah, I mean it's just a lot of running backs. I mean, your running back room is deep, but yeah, wide receiver, you have 2 good receivers, but that's kind of it. I don't think Polk's going to be usable for a while, if at all, and then Mooney should be like your 4th or 5th receiver. So that's the issue here. You're gonna have to work the waiver wire or possibly trade. So yeah, it's the receiver depth. All right, we're getting backed up here. Let's go now to Christopher Larice. 10-team half PPR, pick 5 starting lineup. Josh Allen, Lamb, London, Rachaad White, Connor, McBride, Rashee Rice, kicker and defense. Bench, Zamir White, B-Rob, Chase Brown, looks like Deontay Johnson, Romeo Dobbs, and Hawk is stashed.
Let's see. So you got an elite QB. You got Lamb, London at wide receiver. That's great. Rashee Rice as your flex. Rachaad White and Connor fine at running back. McBride. And again, another team looks like went 0 RB. But I mean, you still got Zamir White, Brian Robinson, Chase Brown on the bench. You still got Deontay Johnson on the bench. Dobbs. I feel like this is a little more balanced than the other teams, but not quite as strong, but still very good. So I'm going to say 8, solid 8 here.
Yeah, and I guess for a 10-team league, this is sort of what you get if it's considered 0 RB, right? Even though Rashad White's very much a solid RB2. I mean, I can see you went elite quarterback with Josh Allen, elite tight end at McBride. So you're really strong throughout. It's just the running backs are really more floor than ceiling. So in a 10-team half PPR, I don't know if you have the one running back that's really going to help lead the way. But you're really solid across the board. So I think maybe a 7.5. All right. Go to Joe. This is a 10-teamer already. So, man, a lot of people do those 10-team leagues. I'm telling you. PPR.
I know. I think about that after. Like I thought about that with the videos I did, the ESPN Yahoo Sleeper. I always think from a 12-team. I'm like, man, if somebody's in a 10-team, this is like going to be no help to them.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that more. And there's nothing wrong. 10, 12, whatever floats your boat. So Joe did it 10-teamer. PPR got CMC, Harrison, Nico, Achin, McBride, Neighbors, Higgins, B-Rob, Daniels, Terry, Mostert, Bowers to us. Okay, this is a 10-team league. I like this team a lot.
Yeah, so let's see. So you got CMC. Okay.
This is a great team.
CMC, Achan at running back, Harrison Jr., Nico at wide receiver, McBride, Neighbors, Higgins, Terry. I'm probably not quite as high on this team as you are because I like Nico, but I don't love Nico. I'm worried about Neighbors. I do like Higgins. I mean, CMC Achan is great. You got an elite tight end. You got Jaden Daniels and Tua. Again, this is not a team where I feel like it's solid across the board, but I mean, I don't know. Harrison, Nico, Neighbors. Little nervous about the wide receivers in a 10-teamer. So again, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, I mean it's 10-teamer. I don't know. For me, this is a solid 9. Got huge upside. Marvin Harrison Jr. at receiver. Nico, I think, is clearly the number 1 receiver in Houston. Gonna put up just as big of numbers. Achan, obviously some risk, but tell me running back that doesn't. And look, I'm not even big on Neighbors, you know that, but at least you have that massive upside. And it got Terry. I mean, is Terry on the bench? Is that, Terry's not even – I would put Terry, of course, over Neighbors starting. Higgins. Yeah, I like everything about this team, really. All right, there's Chupapi.
There he is.
12-team PPR, super flex. All right. Brown, Hurts, Collins, Jones, Spears, Love, Muth, Cleveland defense, Ford or Spears as the RB2.
I think you got to go Ford as the RB2 right now. He's the clear starting running back in Cleveland. He's going to get the majority of the touches. Spears, like if you read into preseason, Pollard is the 1A and Spears is the 1B right now. So I think you definitely got to go Ford as your RB2.
Yeah, you definitely want Ford right now. So as far as the team overall, it hurts.
Well, I don't know. Like, is this the whole Brown? Is that AJ Brown? Jalen Hurts? Nico Collins? Jones? I don't know who Jones is. Aaron Jones? Hopefully not Daniel Jones. It is Superflex. Spears?
I hope it's no. I think it's probably Aaron Jones. It looks like the quarterbacks are Hurts and Love, which is really good for a Superflex. Muth is a tight end. Got Nico and I'm guessing AJ Brown at receiver. And so running back, you're going Aaron Jones and Ford. Okay, so running back's not, you don't have a high-end running back, but you're solid. But you have high-end quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. You have other positions that can carry you.
All right. Let's get to our man Rise above anything. He's got a 12-man league. Kyler, Achin, Lamb, Harrison Jr., Pitts, Waddle, Dell, Pollard, Jacoby Myers, Gus, Hubbard, Palmer, and Corum just drafted.
Well done. I think it's so amazing to me how you can get a team with CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Waddle on the same team. Like, just crazy. And Achane. I mean, you got Lamb, Harrison, Waddle. And Dell. Dell is your wide receiver 4. It's a 12-teamer. That's phenomenal. You got Achane with you went hero RB with Achane, which is fine in the 12-teamer. With Gus, Chuba. So you got Gus and Chuba on the bench. They can be serviceable to start the year as your RB2. It's fine. Corum there, you never know. If something happens to Kyron, this team, it's over. This team wins. And you got Kyler, and you got Pitts. Yeah, it's great. This is a 9. This is a 9 for sure.
Yeah, and of course, we know that he knows what he's doing. Been with us for years. This is how you pull off that anchor RB or hero RB strategy.
Also has Zach Moss on the bench, so even better.
Yeah, you're deep. That's what I like, is that you went Achane. Look, of course, again, Achane risky as your RB1. Oh well, Achane could be a league winner this year, and then you're solid. You have 4 running backs you could start, and they'll give you something. Right, Gus Edwards will score touchdowns. Pollard will get receptions. So Chuba's the starting running back there in Carolina. So, and then Zach Moss. So, yeah, I love this team too. All right, Chris. Sorry, a couple of quick ones. Beast just saying thanks. Yeah, QB. He said QB and receiver flew off the board, and he did also say gonna have to make some trades. Now, that's a situation where you're like, well, you just drafted while you're trading. It's fine to make a trade. Because you're dealing from, let's say, a position of depth to improve your roster. So, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Start making some offers. Christopher Laborde back saying his bench. Okay, what do you think about the bench here with Chase Brown, Jason, Rico, Jameson, Corum, Marshawn Lloyd, Dontavian Wicks?
This bench is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this bench at all. It's totally fine for your bench. I will say we have to keep an eye on Marshawn Lloyd. He may land on IR to start the season, dealing with a hamstring injury, because they are cutting down tomorrow. They've already started cutting down, so just keep an eye on that. I mean, if he does hit IR, great. Put him in your. Hopefully, you have an IR slot. I mean, if you don't have an IR slot, drop him. But if you do have an IR slot, move him to IR, grab somebody else. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this bench. I mean, yeah, I don't remember. Did we see who his running back? Did he tell us who his running backs were before? Did we already do this? So his running backs were Bijan and Zamir White. So yeah, you're fine with this. You're fine. You're fine with these guys.
Yeah, I like it. You still have good upside there on the bench. Oh, I'm taking too long for this. Let's go with.
Why you got to use the draft app?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to manage the comments. Yeah, I like the upside on your bench for sure. Those are all players I've talked a lot about this offseason, especially James Williams, Blake Corum. I was super high on Lloyd. Of course, the injury pretty much throws a wrench in his draft value, so I'm not drafting him other than best ball. I will say this is the type of player I do like taking in a best ball mania, because his ADP is taking a dip, and he's getting drafted well after his ADP. And I say that because right before we got on here, I just picked him, because he used to go, round, I don't know, what was it, like 12, 13 or something like that. And now I get him in around like 15, 16. Look, if he comes back and gives me 3-4 weeks worth of value toward the end of the season, it still pays off, right? That's the kind of lotto ticket I'm willing to take in best ball. Redraft.
I did see that a report says they do expect Marshawn Lloyd to start the season on IR. So just keep an eye out for that.
There you go. Okay, let's do Jason. Welcome
What's
back,
up,
Jason. Love seeing everybody back from
last season. It's fantasy season. What's up, guys?
All right. So, also busy drafting. Mahomes, Barkley, H.N., St. Brown, Cup, Tank Dell, Kelsey, Aaron Jones, Bears D, Eckler, Chase Brown, Keenan Allen, Jerome Ford, Komet, and Gus Edwards. This is a 10-team league. That makes more sense, but
All right. I mean, Barkley, Barkley, H.N. at running back is great. St. Brown, Cup, Dell, it's okay. We'll see. Look, if Cup is great, then your wide receiver room will be fantastic. You got a stud QB. You got Kelsey to stack with Mahomes. Aaron Jones, Chase Brown, Keenan Allen, Jerome Ford, Komet on the bench, Gus Edwards. Again, I feel like this is a solid team across the board. Not quite as strong as some of the others, but still good. I'm going to give it an 8. Give this team an 8.
I mean, you're that in terms of starting lineup. I think you're really, really good. The bench is a little iffier, but still, I think Eckler is fine. He's serviceable. The bench just is a little bit more floor than ceiling. Komet's a guy I'm not really drafting this year. He doesn't look like he's even going to be the starting tight end anymore, at least not in receiving sets. But whatever. This is your backup tight end. I'm not going to judge based on that. So I like your running backs. Receiver depth is really the issue here, because if Kupp does go down and Keenan Allen is, eating his way through Chicago, then, could be worrisome. Apparently, have you seen that? Apparently, that's the thing. He's now like a food critic, and he's going through like all the deep dish pizza joints. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I've gotten pretty off Keenan.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Maybe save that for your post-playing career, not like. But anyways, let's get to Justin O'Grady.
What's up, Justin?
PPR, 3 receiver, 1 flex, 2 running backs. Got Garrett Wilson, Gibbs, London, Higgins, McBride, Chase, Love, Watson, Benson, Lloyd, Leggett, Polk, Vidal, Wicks, Ray Davis, and then Brooks on IR. A lot of youth here. Is it too much youth?
I like stashing Brooks on the IR. Wilson, London, Higgins, and a 12-teamer I think is fantastic. Gibbs, great. McBride, you got an elite tight end. So obviously you went very hero RB here, because then you got Chase Brown, Trey Benson, Marshawn Lloyd, Vidal, and Ray Davis as your RB2s. Like a little bit. We actually just did a video on this, and I would like a guy, RB2, at least one RB2 who's kind of locked in as a starter to give me those touches. But if RB2 is your weakness, that's not a bad thing. You got Watson on the bench, Brooks in IR. Look, when he comes back, maybe he'll be that guy for you. So do we see Jordan Love at QB? So, I mean, but still, for a 12-team league, this is pretty good. Outside of RB2, I love this team. So I'm going to say 8.75, honestly.
Yeah, really strong across the starting lineup. I will say the bench is super, super risky. Honestly, even your starting lineup is kind of risky, because obviously Watson. And we don't exactly know what Chase Brown's going to look like. I'm high on Chase Brown, but, it's definitely not a sure thing. So I like taking some shots on upside and youth and some players that could pay off down the stretch. Trey Benson, Vidal, Brooks, but I don't want my whole entire bench to be rookies. So, that's the only thing. Very risky. I like the starting lineup. The bench is a little precarious. All right. I guess I should take a tight end at some point. So here we go. MC wants to know, how far does this team go? Is it a championship team? Dak, Gibbs, Etienne, Lamb, Ayuk, Andrews, and Devontae. On the bench, Flowers, Higgins, Mondre, Najee, Eckler, Purdy. This could definitely be a championship team. What is this? Is this a 10-team league or a 12?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a 12-team league, this is an 11. If it's a 10-team league, it's a okay.
10-man league. It's still really good.
Yeah, this is still like put it back up again. I mean, Gibbs and Etienne, Lamb, Ayuk, and Devonta Smith, Andrews at tight end, Flowers, Higgins, Ramondre, Najee just on your bench. You got Purdy to back up that. This is a 9-5. 9-5.
Yeah.
This team could definitely win the championship.
Definitely. Now he's got a follow-up though. This is an interesting trade. Would you trade 2 of those receivers to get Justin Jefferson, either Ayuk Flowers or Devontae Flowers? I don't
Trade
think I
Ayuk,
would.
Flowers, or Devonta.
Ayuk Flowers, maybe I would do, but I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary.
I would do Ayuk and Flowers.
I mean, I guess you do have Higgins just on your bench.
It's a 10-team. It's a 10-team league. Give me the stud. Give me the.
Well, that's true. All right. Quickly, Jason Quinones. He wants to know if he should do a trade. Jason, we'll go back to yours. Then we will go through these teams. We'll keep getting to your questions, by the way. Don't worry if you did super chat. We will definitely answer your super chat. Drafted. Would you trade anything on this team to make it better? I mean, Aaron Jones is the RB. Actually, sorry, Aaron Jones looks like he's the flex. Yeah, your RBs are good. I don't know. You're probably trading Keenan Allen.
I would probably try to trade Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Because he still has a lot of value. He has name value. I would probably try to trade Keenan Allen right now.
And look for just a different, maybe a higher upside receiver instead?
Yeah, maybe even because you have Jerome Ford, you have Gus Edwards, you have Chase Brown. I might even package Keenan Allen and Aaron Jones because they have a lot of name value and see if you can get a higher end wide receiver. Maybe like somebody in like the maybe, I don't know, Rashee Rice, Cooper, that kind of range. Those kind of guys, Higgins type guys.
Get higher.
I mean, maybe shoot higher. Go for higher first. See what happens.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to try. Rise wants to let us know someone in his league took Diggs, Stroud round 1 and 2.
Are they from Houston?
People do some funny things on draft day. Yeah, that's how you wound up getting things. Like he said, he got Waddle in round 4. That's why.
Pick six. You know, on ESPN, he's like pick 49. You can get him in like late 4th, early 5th. Crazy.
Stinger. What is up, Stinger?
What's up? What's up, Logan? I'm gonna call you Logan from now on. Great
Logan.
movie, by the way.
He drafted a half PPR team, 12 team, just like this. Got Love, White, K9, Rico, Chase Brown, Jamar, Marvin, Rice, Flowers, Downs, Mooney, of course, Ladd, Pitts, and Musgrave. That looks pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, you got a good QB. You got Rashad White and Kenneth Walker at running back. Totally fine there with Rico, Chase Brown on the bench behind them. You got Chase. We don't have to worry about Chase anymore. Marvin Harrison, Rashee Rice is your wide receiver 3. Flowers is your wide receiver 4. I still like stashing Josh Downs. People have kind of forgotten about Josh Downs with the injury, but I think when he's back, he's going to have a good role. I really like Mooney. I know we're both team Mooney this year, you and me, Stinger. And you got Pitts, but you also grab Musgrave because, hey, look, as much as we like Pitts, the risk is real. So grab another tight end just in case. I like it. This is 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, look at those 4 receivers in a row: Chase, Harrison, Rice, Flowers. But you didn't really wait. I don't know if I even call it 0 RB because you still got K9 and Rashad White. Those are guys who are solid, legit RB2s with upside. So, yeah, very nice. And then Christopher Laborde again. ESPN. I mean, look, we don't play ESPN. But even if you do, should you really care what their preseason prediction is, their ranking of you? No.
The worse the site ranks you, probably the better your team is.
Yeah. That's it's typically typically how it works. The preseason rankings, ratings, projections, it means nothing. But look,
Nothing.
and you're good. Okay, one more, and then we'll get to these teams, and we'll go back to some
Ooh,
comments.
an
Happy.
auction draft.
Let's talk about your love for auction drafts after you just got through one on whatever day, what Sunday was. Like auctions,
Actually,
where the real action
I
is.
do actually love auction drafts. I think auction drafts are the most fair draft system you can use, but man, they're grueling. They're grueling.
Just know what you're getting into. That's all I'll say.
Yes.
Carve out a good half your day. 10-man
Yes.
PPR auction. Okay, so went Purdy and Caleb, Jacobs, Ramondre, Lamb, Wilson, London, Deontay Johnson, Schultz, Komet, kicker defense.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you got Lamb and Garrett Wilson and London and Deontay Johnson. So obviously you spent up at wide receiver, but you still got Jacobs and Ramondre, so solid at running back. Schultz, Komet at tight end is okay, but look, the thing about auction draft is you gotta pick and choose which positions you're gonna allocate your money to, and if you decide you're not gonna really allocate much funds to tight end, that's totally fine by me. So because I mean, like if Schultz isn't doing anything because he's stuck with those 3 wide receivers, and if Komet really is behind Gerald Everett, then just drop him and pick up another tight end, right? So, but I will say it is a 10-man, so I feel like you should be a little better at QB and tight end in a 10-man than this. But still, your wide receivers are so good and your running backs are good enough. I'll say 7-5.
Yeah, it's interesting how the auction builds are different because you don't have to get those kind of late round flyer types. You can really choose. You want to do like a stars and scrubs approach. If you want to go more kind of baseline, I think you're solid pretty much across the board here, though. I like having that wide receiver core in a PPR league. Yeah, I think this is I mean, my only thing here for a 10-man league, you can mix and match between Purdy and Caleb Williams. I'm okay with that, right? You don't have to have an elite quarterback and you have 2 good quarterbacks, but you also don't have a really great tight end for fantasy necessarily in a 10-man league. And then running back, you got guys who are solid, but I don't feel like you have the upside to say, oh, this is a league winner at running back. So it's solid, though. It's very solid. Okay, let's go through these teams and see what we think. Break down.
Jake really needs help. Pick 3 in a 6-man league. Who do you pick?
In a 6-man league. Well,
look, Jake, you can see right here on the draft board. Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. Pick one of those guys, whichever one falls. Whichever one falls 2 or 3, pick them.
We had that debate at the very, very beginning, right? It's CeeDee Lamb, still a top 3 pick, like always. CMC, Tyreek Hill, whoever's left.
Yep. Whichever one of those 3 guys is left, you pick them.
Got one more. Thank you, Isaac. What's up? Welcome back.
What's up, Isaac? Thank you.
All right. So 12-man PPR. Kyler, Debo, Metcalf, Bijan, Kyron, Kincaid, Tank Dell. I already know I like this team. Javonte on the bench, Ridley, Tajay, Keon Coleman, Jalen Wright, Corum, Brian Thomas, and A.D. Mitchell. All right. So first of all, any trade suggestions? Second of all, thoughts on Javonte? And third of all, what do you give this team?
All right. Well, let's start what I give the team. It looks like you went Bijan, Kyron, but you still got Debo, Metcalf, Tank Dell at wide receiver. You got Kyler, you got Kincaid starting, and you got Javonte as a flex, I guess. Starting lineup is great. Ridley, Tajay, Keon Coleman, Jalen Wright, Corum, Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell. I mean, outside of Ridley, a lot of youth on the bench could be a bit risky there. So starting lineup would probably be like a 8.5. Bench, I'd probably give like a 7. It's got potential, but it's got risk. So I'm going to average it out, and that's probably a 7.75. But I probably did not math that right. So somebody who's better at math can tell me I'm wrong. I'll give it a 7.75 though. Thoughts on Javonte? I love Javonte this year. I don't think we agree on this, but I think Javonte is going to be the workhorse. Samaje Perine is either going to get traded or cut. He's going to catch a bazillion passes in that Sean Payton offense. I think he's got high-end RB2 upside. Trade suggestions? I mean, maybe The problem is a lot of your bench is like unproven rookies, so it's going to be hard to really trade them.
Yeah.
I think I would just sit tight right now. I mean, also, why? Okay, again, I say this every time. Why are people so eager to trade right after they draft? You drafted these players. You should want them. You picked them. Why do you want to get rid of them already?
Well, I will say that I understand the thought process because you maybe didn't get all the players you really wanted on draft day, or maybe it didn't turn out exactly the way you planned. So there's always ways to improve. I would say this, me personally, this is a PPR league. You know, I know you agree. You prefer to flex a receiver than a running back. You could throw Ridley in there and be fine, right? It's all the same.
Yeah.
I would say, again, I know you want youth with upside. You like the rookies, right? We want to see who goes off. You don't want to go rookie crazy. You don't want your entire bench to be they could, because they're not all going to. There's going to be rookie busts. So I'm going to trade a guy who I think right now his value is probably as high as it's going to get. I don't see Keon Coleman blowing up. I would probably personally package him with one of your. Well, if it was me, I actually would package him with Javonte, or maybe Tajay Spears or somebody like that. Upgrade at receiver. I'm going to hang on to guys like Corum and Thomas who have upside. But your team is good. I mean, I like this team a lot. I don't think you really need to do anything. Okay, Ruben, we'll get to yours in a second. See your super chat. Let's do some of these teams though, so people have been hanging around and can know what we think. Team 1, Diesel Power. Went back-to-back Niners with CMC Ayuk, James Cook, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride, McConkey, Hollywood, Dobbs, Ford, Shaheed, Purdy, Mitchell, and Demarcus Robinson. We possibly have a 49ers fan here.
I think we do. I'm okay with the CMC Ayuk start. I just don't like taking – if I got CMC, I'm not taking James Cook there. I'd rather grab one of those wide receivers because it is a 3 wide receiver league. Even though it is half PPR, it's 3 wide receivers. So now you're looking at your wide receiver 3. Well, Hollywood we know is not going to start the season, which he'll be fine when he comes back probably. But, I mean, Ladd, Dobbs, Shaheed, Robinson is your wide receiver 3. Plus, you need a flex here. So, I mean, are you going to flex one of those wide receivers? You're going to flex your own Ford. I think if you had gone, instead of Cook, if you had gone Nico, Evans, Debo, DJ Moore, I mean, take your pick, whatever, whichever guy you like. Not a big deal. And then grab more running backs late. Like you still could have gotten Ford. Like instead of Dobbs, you could have maybe gotten Gus Edwards and Jerome Ford, and then maybe gotten like guys like Jalen Wright or Vidal or whatever late. I think I'd like this team a little more, but I mean, I'm not down on Cook by any stretch. I just think getting Cook there hurt your wide receiver room a little bit, but still a very good team.
Yeah, I will say generally not doing that. Like I said, with CMC, one of the things I like about getting CMC is I don't have to think about my RB2 for a long time. I like Cook. I'm big on Cook this year. I think you might have pulled it off because getting Ladd as your number 3 receiver, I think is still fine. Getting Hollywood, like, yeah, I know he might not play for 1-2 weeks. I mean, he's not out long term. I think that could wind up being a steal for you. Dobbs is certainly serviceable. So I think he actually kind of pulled this off anyways. I like this team. All right, Ruben, let's get to your question. Use the app. Very nice. So again, Draft Pilot is the name of the service. Draft Lane is the app. So you see right there, Draft Lane on the App Store, Google Play Store. It's free. Draft Pilot is part of it. So he used the app. He went with this: Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams. The running backs are Cook, Connor, Javonte, Chase, Brown. Tight end is Kincaid, and the QB is Love.
I mean, I know it's you use the app, so I may be biased, but I think that this is a great team for PPR. You didn't say how many teams it is, but having Jefferson, I mean, your wide receiver room, you got to have the best wide receivers in the league, no doubt about it. Like Jefferson, Wilson. How do you get Jefferson and Garrett Wilson, by the way? Like, how does that happen? Even in a 10-team league, how do you get Jefferson, Garrett Wilson? Evans, Pickens, Rice, Watson, Jameson Williams. I mean, do you even need Jameson Williams, to be honest, with these wide receivers? You got James Cook, who I think will be an RB1 this year. James Conner, I really like him. I really like Javonte. I know we disagree on that, but I really like Javonte. Chase Brown is your RB4. You got an elite tight end. You got what I think could be a QB1. I mean, I called Jordan Love a league winner where he's being drafted. So I love this team. This is a 9. I mean, obviously, okay, it's a 10-team league. Still good. Still probably a 9 in the 10-teamer. Maybe an 8.75 in a 10-teamer. Just because running backs aren't absolutely stacked. They're just really good.
Yeah. I mean, this receiver room, honestly, by itself could carry your entire team. And yeah, Jordan Love is certainly a good starting quarterback. Dalton Kincaid, I've been saying I think he could be the tight end 1 this year, at the very least, top 5. And your running backs are solid. Now, worst case scenario, if Connor breaks down again or he loses his job to Trey Benson or whatever, you got Javonte, should be fine. Chase Brown, you'll be fine. So,
plus it's a 10-team league. It's a 10-team league. You're going to be able to find running backs on the waiver wire.
Exactly.
No problem.
Okay, let's do.
James Cook and James Conner should be fine. Javonte should be fine at running back.
Oh yeah. All right, let's do another team, and then we'll get to Isaac's next one. All right, so team 2 was Dan the Man, went Tyreek Hill, Etienne, Nico, Josh Allen, and Laporta, which, by the way, is interesting. I'm noticing now Laporta was the 3rd tight end off the board.
I've been noticing that. Like, I see Laporta, like, Kelsey seems to be back to the tight end 1, and I've seen McBride going over Laporta a lot.
I don't know why. It's one of those weird, quirky things. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Look, you got Laporta in the 5th round. We almost never see that either. Thomas, Connor, Jalen Warren, Curtis Samuel, Lockett, Downs, Dobbins, and Judy.
All right, so you got Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins. Again, the problem when you go, because it is the 3 wide receiver league again, and the problem when you go running back, QB, and tight end, 3 picks in the first 5, you got Brian Thomas Jr. is your wide receiver 3. I like him, but we also have to understand he's a rookie. He's probably not going to be great week 1. Curtis Samuel, Lockett, Downs, not even healthy. Judy, not drafting. So wide receiver 3 and flex certainly going to be an issue here. I'm fine with Etienne and Connor as your RBs. Warren is okay as your RB3. Dobbins, we'll see. So, but your wide receiver 3 flex worries me a little bit. So, again, it's by no means a bad team. I mean, you got Allen, you got Laporta, you're good there. You still have good wide receivers, but again, I think maybe not QB and tight end back to back.
Exactly. Same thing I always say. And Brian Thomas, better as a flex than an every week number 3 receiver, because I don't know that Samuel, Lockett, Downs, any of those guys, especially early, Downs not going to be playing, are going to be one that you want every week starting. So the receiver depth is the issue, but it's not a bad team. I mean, obviously getting the QB1 and the tight end 1, I know it sounds great. I don't think it always pays off as much as people, expect it to, but you got good players overall. Isaac, okay, so talking about that potential trade, he said he'd like to get K9 or HN, considers sending away Javonte and one of those rookies to upgrade at RB.
I mean, you're going to have a hard time trading Javonte and one of the rookies for HN.
Yeah.
You might be able to do it for Kenneth Walker, because I still feel like people aren't that high on Kenneth Walker this year. I think people are just kind of drafting him like, fine, I'll take Kenneth Walker. He's like the best running back here. Right. So maybe Javonte and one of those rookies could get you Kenneth Walker, but probably not HN. If you're going to go for Monty, me personally, maybe I'm wrong about Javonte. I'd rather just have Javonte, honestly. I mean, Monty might score more touchdowns, but that's like Javonte, I think, is going to catch way more passes and get way more touches.
Yeah, Monty's not necessarily a big upgrade, if at all, so you might as well just hang on. Yeah, look, personally, Javonte and Coleman for K9, I'd do it. I'll take K9 for sure. You're probably not getting HN, but I think that's worth doing it. All right, let's get to Team 3. This is Frednell 98. Went CeeDee Lamb, Pacheco, Mike Evans, Jalen Hurts, Neighbors, Kittle, Ramondre, Addison, Mitchell, Eckler, Dontavian Wicks, McLaughlin, and Dotson.
All right, I see a theme here. Waiting on wide receivers and then ending up with like Lamb and Evans is fine, but then I mean Neighbors is your wide receiver 3, like okay, fine. I can handle the volatility at wide receiver 3, but then like Addison, Mitchell, Wicks, Dotson is your flex. Because I don't think you're going to want to flex Eckler. I don't think you're going to want to flex Jaleel. You got Pacheco and Stevenson. So again, it's another one where you went early running back, early QB, and semi-early tight end. Like I think if instead of Kittle, you had grabbed, I mean, not really a lot of wide receivers on the board there. So, I mean, maybe it's just the way the board fell tonight. I don't know, but it's certainly not a bad team. You got a lot of players that I like. I just worry about your wide receiver 3 and flex.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's we come on and call it a run, but a couple mini runs, right? The quarterbacks and then the tight ends always get taken around this range. You don't have to. You don't have to go QB and tight end early. I wouldn't say Kittle was early necessarily, but you already had your QB here before you had really settled on your second RB or your flex. So Addison might turn out to be great. Maybe Neighbors is just that guy, despite Daniel Jones. But it is risky. It is definitely risky. Okay. Let's do Andrew Gill's comment at the membership here on YouTube.
What's up, Andrew?
Start Achan, Ramondre, Nico, Odunze, T. Goddard, Pickens at the flex, Deontay at the flex, and then at the bench got B-Rob, Pollard, Spears, Schultz. Would you change anything for week 1? This is half PPR.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think I'm flexing. I mean, the only one I'm thinking about is Odunze. Maybe a little risky week 1, a rookie wide receiver week 1, but am I putting Brian Robinson or Pollard in over him? Again, I haven't looked too deeply at the week 1 schedule yet. Still in draft mode here. The Commanders who the Commanders play week 1?
They get Tampa on the road.
Yeah, I mean that run defense isn't as strong as it was in the past, but it's still pretty good. Cowboys get the Patriot. Oh no, Pollard's not on the Cowboys anymore. He's on the Titans. That's right. Titans get the Bears. That defense is going to be ferocious. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I might just leave it the way you have it. Although it's close between Brian Robinson and Odunze, and he said a half PPR, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think because it's half, I might consider Brian Robinson for some touchdown upside over Odunze. Definitely going to put Pickens and Deontay in there. So that's a toss-up for me. It's between B-Rob and Odunze. Titans, let's just wait and see what that backfield really looks like. I don't think either guy has tremendous upside just yet. So that's the only thing, is whether you want to risk Odunze week 1. That's really the only question. And then little Isaiah, appreciate that. Ayuk or Debo?
Ayuk, assuming he actually at some point signs with the 49ers here. He's like the last one we're waiting for, right? Chase is back practicing. CeeDee signed today. Okay, Ayuk next. And then Achan or K9, you got to go Achan.
London, Achan or K9?
Yeah. Oh, I missed London. Is it full PPR? It doesn't say full PPR. I think
yep. Why do you have to pick between all these players? Like,
right?
That's my question. Is this that 6-man league?
Maybe. I mean, Achan's probably, it's hard to call Achan safe, but okay, you said full PPR.
Yeah. And
I'd probably just go Achan in week 1 and not, like, I feel pretty good Achan's going to give me solid points. If London goes off, which he certainly could, then okay, next week put London in. Week 2, put London in.
You know what? Achan's one of the guys like you have him, you drafted him, obviously second, third round, you have to start him. I just have this gut feeling, you know what's going to happen. He's going to get like 8 carries, and then Raheem Mostert's going to get like 20, and Raheem Mostert's going to go off, and everyone's going to be like, smashing their TV. That would just be fitting.
Everybody's going to be panicking on Achan.
Oh yeah. If that happens, I think you have to start Achan, and it's definitely Debo for me. All right, let's get to where are we at? We're on team 4. Tony. All right, Justin Jefferson, Achan, Debo.
You'll be grading these teams all night. All right.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, Godwin, JSN, Zamir White, Njoku, Gus Edwards, Love, Wright, Braylon Allen, and Jermaine Burton. Got some rookies late. Got some high-end talent early. This is finally a team that went receiver heavy early.
Yeah, and I like it. Even though I don't like Achan there, I think that's too early for Achan. You still have Jefferson, Debo, Cooper, Godwin, JSN. You have tons of upside at wide receiver. You got Zamir as your RB2. You got Gus. And you got a couple high-end handcuffs in Wright and Allen. You got Njoku. You got Jordan Love. Yeah, this is definitely the best team so far.
Yeah, no surprise. The receiver-heavy team seems the strongest. Look, I totally fine with Njoku as my starting tight end and Jordan Love as my quarterback. And I love the late running backs you got. I mean, Zamir White, mid-rounds? This is how you do it. Yes, you are definitely counting on Achan to be that guy this year. If he is, you win. Now, it's officially draft season. We are back now because our favorite username, at least it's mine, it will never go old. The Libertarian Sasquatch has returned.
What's up?
All right. Thoughts on this team? Kyler, Henry, Stevenson, Martin Harrison Jr., Pittman, Ferguson, DK on the bench, Robinson, Rice, Dowdle. I'm guessing this is supposed to be Dowdle.
Yeah, Dowdle.
Coleman, Dobbins, Brian Thomas.
I assume this is a 12-teamer?
It's definitely full PPR. Don't know 12-team, probably.
Henry, Stevenson, Harris. So that's fine. Henry, Stevenson at RB is totally fine. Harrison, Pittman, DK Metcalf at wide receiver is great. You got a good tight end. You got a good QB. Is that Brian Robinson Jr., Rasheed Rice? Maybe it's 10-team. You got Rasheed Rice on the bench. I don't know. Dowdle, Keon Coleman. It might be Brian Thomas. Okay, again, not knowing the team. If it's a 12-teamer, if it's a 12-teamer, it's still strong. It's probably like a 8-5 as a 12-teamer. But even if it's a 10-teamer, I think it's still a solid 8.
Yeah, it's very solid. Like Ferguson. I'm trying to see how this broke down. You must have taken, I'm assuming you had a late pick and you went like Harrison, Henry. And then Pittman. I feel like, just to be honest, this is a 12-team league. I feel like maybe it was a little reachy early on some of the players. But I like all the players you got, right? I'm just missing that one guy who's the stud, right? The one who's like that no doubt pick. Because look, Marvin Harrison's going in the first round in a lot of these leagues, but I don't know if he's, a first round league winner type. So I think you have good players across the board, though. It's pretty solid. I'd give more like an 8. Okay. Isaac, hold tight. We'll do one more team. We'll get to you.
I do want to give a shout out real quick to Andrea, who's here getting ready for her draft. What's up, Andrea?
Hey. All right. Welcome, Andrea, as always. And follow up here. He did have the 12th pick out of 12. We are all Cardinals fans, so there you go. That explains the Harrison Kyler stack.
Yeah, I think that's a really good team for a 12-teamer. I like it. I like 8.5 for me as a 12-teamer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. All right. Paper, Chase, Waddle, Jacobs, Kelsey, Diggs, Stroud, Swift, Brooks, Keon Coleman, Zeke, round 10 Zeke, no less, Polk, Chandler, and Jalen Tolbert.
We have a Zeke truther, no doubt. Round 10 Zeke, you're a Zeke truther paper.
Yeah.
Again, I can already tell this is another team. I mean, Diggs is your wide receiver 3 is fine. But again, now you're flexing because, look, Jonathan Brooks is not starting the season. Jacobs and Swift are your running backs. Okay, Jacobs fine. Swift, we'll see. But now that means you're flexing Coleman, Zeke, Polk, Chandler, Tolbert. I don't like that at all. Again, another team we're just right, like not good enough wide receivers. So kind of like the first 3 teams, it's fine. There's plenty of players here I like, but yeah, little worried about wide receiver 3 flex.
Yeah, well, you look paper. You're on here all the time. We appreciate you. I don't like the whole second half of this draft after Jonathan Brooks. I like Brooks, but I don't like any of the picks after that. Tolbert last round, okay, fine. So just real thin, right? And I'm personally not in on Diggs. I would have preferred any of the other receivers there, Kirk, Johnson, Reed, whatever. But yeah, that's what I got. All right, Chris, you took Sun God, followed by Drake London. It's pretty nice value there at the 2.7. DJ Moore, also good value. Rashad White, Lamar, Odunze, Aaron Jones, Jake Ferguson, Spears, Jacoby, Mooney, Charbonnet, and Luke McCaffrey. Like you feel like you got your guys.
Yeah, except for Aaron Jones, but he felt like good value there. But I like my 3 wide receivers a lot, of course. I think Rashad White as my RB1 is fine. Aaron Jones, my RB2 is fine. I'm okay with Odunze at the flex. I also have Spears, Myers, Mooney as potential flex options. I got a stud QB. I got what I think is going to be a stud tight end. So definitely happy with this team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your receiver course solid. You okay? I just noticed you got Moore as your 3rd receiver, Dunze as your 4th receiver, with Myers, Mooney, your solid backups. But you're okay. I mean, how do you work that during the season if you do something like that?
Just start them both.
Oh, so we're all. I think you're just not just all in on the Chicago. You're like really out on Keenan Allen, huh?
Well, I talk about it in our video on Thursday. He looks like he's only going to be out there in 3 wide receiver sets, and the Bears probably not going to run a ton of 3 wide receiver sets. I really think it's going to be DJ Moore, the clear wide receiver 1, and Odunze, the wide receiver 2, and 2 wide receiver sets. I really do.
Wow. All right. Well, I did take Keenan Allen here, but pretty late, so I'm okay with it. Let's get to, before we get to the next couple teams, got some more super chats. Isaac, we made you wait long enough. Thoughts on Javonte this year? Well, you definitely talked about Javonte. He says that he thinks he's going to be a steal. He's slimmed down, 2 years away from surgery. Okay, so I think you agree with the first part. I agree with the second part. I'm nervous about his use in play calling. Is the truth probably somewhere in the middle?
Probably somewhere in the middle. I'm more nervous about the offense than the use in the play calling because, I mean, his only real threat right now is Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime. Audric Estime is just a between the tackles grinder. Not one of my favorite running back prospects. Jaleel McLaughlin, okay, fine. He showed flashes last year, but let's not act like Jaleel McLaughlin is anything special. He's also horrible in pass protection. So, I mean, Javonte's been running as the clear head and shoulders RB1 this whole training camp and preseason in Denver. And Sean Payton's offenses target the running backs like they're an alpha wide receiver. Samaje Perine, who led the team in catches last year for running backs, is gone. They're not going all to McLaughlin. Javonte's going to get plenty. I think he's a guy who can catch 60-plus passes. And if you're in a PPR league and he gets you 60-plus catches, it's going to be that will be a steal.
Well, I'll say this. If his use is what it probably should be, then he is a steal. I'm nervous about the play calling, but also nervous about, this offense in general. Is Bo Nix going to be captain check down like Russell Wilson was so much last year? Because Russell Wilson is gone. I'm also worried, is Bo Nix legit? I just worry about the offense in general. So to me, it's not about Javonte personally. It's how many points are the Broncos really going to score this year? And then I could see him trying to force Audric Estimate to be a thing. Even if he's not a thing, you're going to try to make him a thing late in the year. So I'm nervous. That's the best way to put it. I'm not out on Javonte. I'm just nervous, but maybe he's a steal. And then Brandon Peralta did have this question earlier, but just put it the super chat. So let's go back to it. 12-man PPR. CJ Stroud, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, CMC. Oh, by the way, Tyjae Spears, Mark Andrews, Christian Kirk, Terry, Butker, and San Fran.
It's funny. CMC. Okay. So you got CMC.
Actually,
Tyjae Spears are your running backs?
Do you one better? This looks like
okay.
The full squad.
All right. So this is hero RB to the extreme when Tyjae Spears is your RB2. But you did get CMC. Evans, Kupp, Kirk, and Terry. Andrew Stroud. Yeah, I'm a little worried about the wide receivers. Like, they're fine. I mean, look, if Kupp is back, like a lot of people think, then your wide receiver room will be fine. But I'm not convinced Kupp is back. Evans will be fine. Kirk will be fine. I like Terry, but none of these, like, I don't feel like you have a true wide receiver one. Andrews is fine. Like, Stroud, I think I probably would have preferred. I don't know who the wide receivers were on the board when you took Stroud, but I probably would have preferred a different wide receiver over Stroud, I'm guessing, but I don't know. You never know how the draft went. 7-5.
Yeah, I think this really, it's hard to say with a full draft and a full team. It comes down to one player. A lot of this is going to come down to Kupp because you picked him early enough, right? If you went CMC at the 1 or maybe the 2 on the turn, the way back, it looks like you went Evans Kupp. So Kupp really needs to pay off if he was your first or maybe second receiver taken, and you took him as a top 25 pick. I'm not in on Kupp that soon. If Kupp does pay off, then this team is good because I love getting Kirk and Terry as your third and fourth receivers. I think that's great. I just don't know if Kupp is legitimately a wide receiver one for fantasy anymore. So other than that, I like the build. I like what you did. It's going to come down to Kupp and I don't love the bench. That's really the main thing for me. Is I like Hubbard. Will get you some quality games if you need him to. Like, you might want to start him week 1 instead of Tyjae Spears. But yeah, the bench is a little iffy, but that's not the worst thing. Okay, let's do one more and then we'll get to Ramu. Welcome back, Ramu. Okay, we are now on team 7. Breece Hall, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp. Speak of the devil. So you got him right here. Cooper Kupp win at what? The 4-8? No,
yeah, 4-6. That's fine. Getting Cooper Kupp at the 4-6 is fine.
Now, I understand not every draft is Cooper Kupp going to fall to the 4th round. In our drafts, he will. In most leagues, he's what, a 3rd rounder maybe?
Maybe even 2nd these days. People are really hyped up on Cooper Kupp right now.
But isn't that funny? You notice, like, Travis Kelce all of a sudden shooting back up Cooper Kupp. It's like we want that familiarity. We're like, okay, well, I remember he was great 2-3 years ago. You don't want to get too sucked into that. I'm fine with Kupp in round 4, but not round 2. Okay, Mixon, another pass great. Ridley, Pitts, Najee Harris, Josh Palmer, Trey Benson, DeMario Douglas, JD, and Marvin Mims. Overall, thoughts?
Overall, it's good. You got Breece Hall. Joe Mixon is your RB2 with Breece Hall is totally fine. You got Najee and Benson on the bench. Olave, Adams, Kupp. Again, I'm not too high on Adams or Kupp, but you got him at good value, so that's fine. Ridley is fine as your flex. You got what hopefully will be an elite tight end in Pitts. And I like JD, I like Jaden Daniels as a late round QB. So definitely one of the stronger teams here. If you replaced Adams and Kupp with wide receivers that I actually really like, that this would probably be one of my favorite teams. So really it just comes down to like the fact that I'm not that high on Adams and Kupp, even though you did get them at good values.
Yeah, and I'm well, look, I I would have taken Devontae Smith over Devontae Adams, and I did take Devontae Smith, but I still am fine with Adams there. Cup, look, at round 4, that's fine. Mixon, I guess there is fine, but you did obviously a good job drafting overall, because even though I don't love every one of these picks, and Chris, you don't love every one of these picks, it still looks like a good team. So you must have pulled it off. All right, Ramu, welcome back. 10-team PPR. Keepers, JJ has the first pick. Okay, so I guess he's keeping JJ, and the first pick he's going to choose between these non-keepers somehow. Amon-Ra, Bijan, Garrett.
Yeah, right. I'm going Amon-Ra, St. Brown, but if you're like, hey, I already have Jefferson, I want a running back, Bijan is just fine too.
Yeah, it's one of those first two. Even though you kept a receiver, it's okay to have two of the best receivers in the league. So I probably just stick to my rankings, go Amon-Ra, but nothing wrong with Bijan. All right. And then speaking of Bijan, that was my first pick. And then I went Puka, Devontae Smith, Kenneth Walker, Christian Kirk, Jaden Reed, AR, Keenan Allen, Zach Moss, Rico Dowdle, Wan'Dale Robinson, Bucky Irving, and Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I think the Keenan Allen fell so far because I said something when I drafted Odunze. But I mean, Keenan Allen at the 8-5 is totally fine. But
yeah. So
here you got Puka, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Jaden Reed. Keenan Allen is your wide receiver 5. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's a 3 wide receiver league.
Yeah.
You got upside wide receivers. You got Bijan and Kenneth Walker. That's great. You got AR at quarterback. Bowers at tight end may not be great out of the gate, but you can always just grab another tight end. So this has got to be one of the strongest teams so far for sure.
Yeah, I will say when the Keenan Allen pick came up, I probably could have just taken Njoku or Ferguson. Keenan Allen did jump out on the app as, look, this guy's fallen too far. And we always tweak rankings, I get it, but I still feel like this is too late for a guy like Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So I'll just wait on tight end. All right. Twisted Bliss, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, DK Metcalf, Pat Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, a little stack there, Christian Watson, Evan Ingram, Jameson Williams, Devin Singletary, Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Damian Pierce, and OBJ sighting.
All right, so when RB got Metcalf, Worthy, Watson, and Jameson at wide receiver / flex. Certainly upside, certainly risky. Got Mahomes and Ingram, so that's great. I mean, great QB, great tight end. Singletary, Cooks, Bateman, Pierce, and Odell, your last 2 picks. Not fan. Running backs, obviously. Running back, QB, tight end, great. Wide receivers, high risk, high reward. But look, if your running backs carry you and your Mahomes and Ingram do what they should do, then I don't mind that volatility at wide receiver. So I like it more than like those other teams we talked about, but not as much as I guess like Pierre's. And I think it was Tony's team, if I remember right. It's been a long time since we reviewed Tony's team.
Way back when we talked about Team 4. It's funny. This team jumps out a ton of upside. This would be like a dream team in Best Ball Mania, right? Underdog, because you go half PPR, huge weekly ceiling of a lot of risk. You got the Mahomes worthy stack. You got guys like Watson, Jameson Williams. Love those guys on underdog. I still like them here, but obviously your team is going to be a lot more volatile. But yeah, try to get this team if you're still doing a Best Ball Mania. Maybe not Damian Pierce, though. Okay, and then the next one is big Bill Belichick.
Celebrity.
Back again. Garrett Wilson, Kyron Williams, Pittman, Flowers, Kincaid, Kamara, Mostert, Pollard, Shakir, Dak, Mike Williams, Brendan Rice, and Nick Chubb.
This might be the first time we've seen Brendan Rice drafted. All right. Garrett Wilson, Pittman, Flowers as your 3 wide receivers is great. You got Kyron, Kamara, Mostert, Pollard, totally fine at running back. You got an elite tight end in Kincaid. You got an elite QB in Dak. Shakir, Mike Williams, Brendan Rice, certainly a lot of risk behind your top 3 wide receivers. But this is a team who could flex a running back with Kamara, Mostert, and Pollard. You could flex 2 of those guys, which is fine in half PPR. So think this is also going to be one of my favorite teams, just because you have a good enough flex option with one of those running backs, and your 3 wide receivers are very, very good. So, yeah, definitely one of my favorites here.
Interesting. I like the very solid start. I mean, the first few rounds are great. You got that core 3 receivers, your anchor RB, your tight end. Probably just another receiver instead of Kamara would have put it over the top for me, because then you find with Mostert, Pollard, whoever at RB2, maybe even the next round, one of those as a receiver, because I don't want to necessarily flex Shakir. I really don't like Mike Williams or Rice. I don't think Rice is draftable. You could flex a running back, right? But even in half PPR, Kamara loses some value. All right, I'm all AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, back-to-back Eagles, Terry McLaurin, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, Javonte Williams, Joe Burrow, Blake Corum, Chase Brown, Xavier Leggett, Vidal, and Algier.
All right, he did say in round 8 he autoed, I guess, Burrow. He was going to take Najee, but I don't see anything wrong with that. But anyways, A.J. Brown, McLaurin, Pickens, Deontay Johnson, great at wide receiver flex. You got Andrews and Burrow. I'm fine with that. You got Barkley, and then Javonte as your RB2 with Corum, Chase Brown, Vidal, and Algier. So obviously some risk behind as your RB2. I know he did say he was going to take Najee at some point, but he autoed. But those guys all have potential upside at some point. Hopefully not Algier, because that means something might have happened to Bijan. So let's hope that never happens. Yeah, I still think this is a very strong team. You got a lot of good value. You got a lot of upside at wide receiver. So good job.
I actually think the Burrow pick there in round 8 is totally fine, because you already had an RB2 with Javonte. So no big deal. You got plenty of potential on your bench at RB. Like your receiving core. Yeah, I actually like this team quite a bit. And then Anthony, last but never least, picking 12. Marvin Harrison Jr., Anthony? Jonathan Taylor, Tank Dell, T. Higgins, Monty, Kyler, B-Rob, Sutton, D-Hop, Hubbard, Muth, Michael Wilson, and Carson Steele.
Carson Steele. Nice. I mean, just that name alone, you almost have to draft him, right? Carson Steele. What a name. You got Harrison, Dell, and Higgins at wide receiver. That's very good. JT. Monty in the 5th, it feels very early to me. I mean, I don't mind Monty if he's your RB2, but I don't know about the 5th. But I do like the Kyler pick. You got B-Rob, Sutton, Hopkins. I mean, I guess you could flex. I guess between Robinson, Sutton, and Hopkins whenever he plays, I guess you'll be okay at flex. Chuba, Muth, Michael Wilson, and of course, Carson Steele. Again, it's another team where I feel like it's solid, but not one of the top teams.
Well, I think you're solid at running back. I think that's the best way to put it, right? Taylor, of course, great RB1. Monty, you know what you're getting at RB2. I like B-Rob as your RB3. No problems there. I'm in on Kyler. You know that. You got the Harrison stack. I mean, actually, I like this team a lot. It's just, sometimes I'll say your bench might be too young. I think maybe your bench could have been a little more young at receiver, right? D-Hop, not the most exciting. Sutton, I think Sutton or D-Hop, one of those guys is fine, and then take a shot on someone who could break out instead. But overall, actually, I like this team a lot from the 12th spot. I think you did a good job. Well, there we go. Before we get off, though, another super chat to get to. John Myers. John. 12-man PPR. Stroud, Mixon, Connor, Hill, Olave, McBride, Pickens. Jets defense on the bench is Pollard, Sutton, Chase Brown, Hollywood Shakir, and Caleb Williams.
All right, so he's saying running backs went early. Henry in the 1st round, Monty in the 2nd round, which is crazy. Wow. But my question, John, is if running backs went that early, then how did you not end up with I'm fine with Pickens, but I feel like in round 3, I'm assuming you took Pickens in round 3. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you reached on McBride in round 3. But my point, the point I'm trying to make is if running backs are going off the board that early, which look, it happens, right? You never know. You go in your league and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, David Montgomery's going around too. What is going on here? Then you should be able to get like crazy wide receiver value. Right. So Hill Olave is a great start, but then like Pickens as your wide receiver 3. Like, I mean, Pickens is fine as your wide receiver 3.
Well, see, here's the problem is then he followed suit, went Mixon in the 3rd round, I think.
Yeah, see, so this is the lesson here. And Pickens around 6, great value. I see your chat. When your league is doing something that is a mistake, meaning they are drafting running backs, in this case, they're drafting running backs way higher than they should be. You need to like ignore it and say, hey, it's okay. I'm just going to take the crazy wide receiver values that are here, and I'm just going to have a stacked wide receiver room, and I'll get running backs later because eventually those people have to stop drafting running backs because it's like they need wide receivers, right? Like eventually they're going to stop all drafting running backs and try to go draft the crappy wide receivers that are left over because you have all the good ones, and then you can just take the decent running backs that are left. So obviously too late for this year, but just going into the next year, if your league drafts that way again, don't panic. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, everybody's taking running backs. I need to get running backs, because then you end up with Mixon in round 3 when you maybe could have gotten like, I don't know, some stud wide receiver in round 3 who shouldn't be there in round 3 anymore. That being said, just looking at your team, if I didn't know anything as in a vacuum, probably like a 7 here, because again, you do have Hill and Olave, but I mean, your running backs are fine with Mixon and Connor. Like Pickens is fine as your wide receiver 3. You did get McBride and Stroud, so that's good, but it doesn't jump off the page here. So yeah, I'm gonna say like a 7 for a 12-teamer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It could have been even better. Your receivers are really good. You have a ton of upside, but yeah, like what could have been. There's really not going to be a big difference between the running backs that they were grabbing in round 3 and the one that you could have gotten probably round 5 or 6. If they're all drafting running backs, okay, fine. Like, what is that guy who drafted 4 straight running backs going to do? He's going to start all those running backs, and that's going to make him win? Doubtful. So you take the short things, and you still at least did come away with not just good receivers, but elite tight end, elite quarterback. So I think you're good, but yeah, exactly. Lesson learned there. You don't have to follow suit. And then Gil, full PPR. These are his starters. So what do we think of the starting squad? Got AR, Chase, AJB, London, McBride, Cook, and Najee.
All right, so another 0 RB team, obviously, with Chase. I mean, this has got to be like at least a 10-teamer, if not a 8. You got Chase and AJ Brown. I'm gonna assume 10 teams or 10 or less teams. If it's a 12-teamer, that's insane. Plus, you got Drake London, and you got Trey McBride, and you get Anthony Richardson, and look, you still got James Cook and Najee. So I'm gonna assume 10-teamer here. I'm gonna grade it as a 10-teamer. I mean, really, you're great ever except for RB2, and I think Najee will at least be serviceable. So, man, I want to give it a 9, but 8.75.
Yeah, look, Chase has been falling in some leagues because of the holdout, which now is really technically sort of over because he showed up to practice, but he's been falling because people get worried. So it's possible you got Chase late in the first and then AJB on the turn. Who knows? Your receivers are great. Your tight end is elite. Your quarterback could be elite. So yeah, I like this team a lot. I hope, not knowing who your bench is, that you at least have some upside there, some young running backs you could take off. If Najee gets Arthur Smith, but overall, this is a really good starting squad. So yeah, I'd give it like an 8. Not knowing if it's 10 or 12. All right, guys. Appreciate all the questions and sticking with us. That's another draft in the books. Don't worry, we'll be back for more.
Hold on. He did say this is actually a 12-team. I'm going to give this a 9.
Okay. Well, that is definitely even better. So Omar asking, are we going to do start set questions? We've already started. Guys, we will take your questions that you ask, as many as possible. We'll be doing more drafts though, pretty much every night that we can fit them in. Don't forget some real drafts are going down as well in an endgame leagues. So don't forget to hit notifications. We'll jump on any chance we can get, so you know as soon as we go live. If you hadn't been able to get in one of these drafts, you still got a little bit of time left. All right, don't forget, start sit videos will be coming out starting this weekend, and of course more draft strategy videos to help you dominate your drafts that are coming up this weekend. And if you're like, well, I already did my one league, why are you only in one fantasy league? Come on, do another one. Get in there. It doesn't have to be a big money league. Get some exposure to different players. Drafting is the best part of it. All right. All right. All right, I guess we should help Omar. He actually asked a question. Who to start between Rashee, Kirk, or Deontay?
Probably Rashee. Probably going to go Rashee Rice here, just because Hollywood is almost certainly going to be out. He'll probably be the wide receiver one. Again, I don't know who all these guys play, but I think I'm going to probably go Rashee Rice.
Yeah, with Hollywood being injured, I think Rashee Rice just makes the most sense. Chiefs are at home. Looks like they get the Ravens on Thursday night, so tough matchup, but I still think you're going to go him. All right, guys. Good night, Anthony, Wolfman, everybody else. Appreciate you for sticking around with us. We'll see you on the next one.